So I'm ready for my next guest when they're ready to come up. Awesome. Well, I know our guest very well, but I want him to share what do you do, who you are, and how do you help dentists cry less inside? Oh, my
My
pleasure.
name's Jamie DiBease. I'm the owner and chief strategist at Day One. We are a digital marketing agency helping our dental clients grow their practices with more of their ideal patients. And we do this through creating a comprehensive marketing plan that's personalized just for their practice.
I love that. And one of the things that struck me, especially since you're so awesome, is that we've heard from two of your collaborators so far. If I was on a show with dentists and there was a few dentists on the show, I wouldn't say these are my competitors. These are people, my colleagues in the space. And we've talked about new patients and we've talked about how websites need to reflect your awesomeness. One thing I want to ask you is you've been helping like Dr. Maggie Augustin with her awesomeness, but it's more than just her as a dentist. And what I think would be really unique to learn about is dentists are more than just inside the operatory. And even though you help people inside the operatory, like Dr. Matt Bickle, our own personal practices you help with Jeff Goodman, tell us a little bit how you kind of showcased her story as more than just her dental, being a dentist.
Sure. Well, first of all, whenever we work with a practice, and particularly the dentist, as much as possible, we want to be part of that practice. We want to be a true partner. And in order to do that, there has to be a right fit between us and that practice. Some practices don't let us in any more than just basic information, but Dr. Maggie is an exception. She is a friend, and she has allowed us to get to know her on a very personal level, which only allows us to be able to communicate her story that much better. And so the website that we built for her really is designed to not just tell her story, but to convince people that are visiting that site about her awesomeness and about how much she loves communicating her story in the way to be able to help other people. And so for us, it's a labor of love. In fact, many times I wrote to her, or we talked and I messaged her and things like that, and I said, I want you to have a website that you love. Until you love it, it's not done. And that was a passion project in a
I
sense,
love that.
just to make sure that it was something she could go out there and represented her wherever she went with her speaking engagements or all of the things that she's involved in.
Awesome. My team will share that in the chat later. Now, just from a fundamental tip I'd like to extract from you, dental pun intended, Jamie, you've helped our audience learn about when they acquire a practice, right? They acquire this older practice. Maybe I'll try to use some of your language. I don't see you using my language, distal, mesial. You should start, Jamie. I'll start to use some marketing language, digital footprint, right? So give our audience just like, you just bought a practice, you're kind of overwhelmed, but you're proud of it. You hire someone like you and you have to dig into their digital footprint and see, do they need a new website? Do they need SEO? Do they need this? Just give us a little insight into that for someone who just acquired a practice.
Sure. The scenario you've just described is very common. In fact, the main part of what we do whenever we work with practices that have just recently been acquired is we have to do a very deep analysis on so many things related to, as you said, digital footprint. Oftentimes that new practice owner has limited or in some cases no information about the digital footprint. That's not what they're focused on. They're focused on closing the deal. They're focused on patients. They're focused on HR issues, focused on getting new equipment. And so this is oftentimes not a huge priority for them. So we take on that responsibility. In fact, much of what we do in the very beginning is work down a very extensive checklist to help the dentist gather the content, gather the information, and then doing the research to see if a previous digital footprint is something that we want to build upon, or if it's something that we want to jettison and start all over. And so it's a pretty detailed process for us to get involved in, but it's essential to help set up that new practice owner for future success.
Love that, Jamie. And that's just why we do all of this, to make people aware and prepared in helping them in the biggest decision of their lives. Well, people can text Day One to 215-543-6454. And how does that work, Jamie? Do they get on a call with you? Do you guys do a Zoom? Tell our audience how they can start working with you.
So once you schedule a time with us, you'll actually be speaking with me. It's either a Zoom meeting or a phone call, whatever easier for the doctor. By the time we have that conversation, we will have done an analysis of your digital footprint. It's not a deep dive, but it's an analysis enough for us to have an idea of areas where we can work with that practice on improving. But it's also a time for us to get to know that practice owner and understand what their goals are and the best way that we can partner with them.
Absolutely love that, Jamie. Well, thanks for helping us grow our community and be an awesome partner. We truly appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, Paul.
So as you guys see in this fun sitcom length show, 30 minutes, you learn so much value. Please take the time right now to text Sunday to 215-543-6454. We're going to be talking about DSO or private practice, which way to go. I'm going to be interviewing people to help you buy your first dental practice, scale dental practices, figure out how to exit. Do you want to grow it yourself? Do you want to partner with a DSO? We're going to share so much amazing information, and it is totally free to join us. Thank you so much for being here.